This Thursday, we get to welcome back our guest, Selah Fugett. If you joined us previously, we spoke about sobriety and the journey that she's been on and being present. This week, Messy Sisters, we're going to talk about it from a different aspect. We're going to talk about what if someone we love and care about is definitely struggling with an addiction or alcoholism, and how do we support them without singling them out and making them feel even more awkward. For instance, everybody has the mom or the grandma who's like, Uncle so and so is getting sober, so we're not going to drink and we're not going to talk about it. Okay, here he comes. You know, that is meant to be helpful, but how many of us want to feel like we're someone's project? Or how many of us, or maybe our spouse doesn't come to that event because they feel like everybody's talking about them, or you're on this road to trying to make things better, and you just really would rather everybody not ask you about it every 5 seconds or something. So let's just talk. Welcome back, Selah, and let's just talk about that side of things. Just share from your heart with us.
Sure. So I want to just throw out, first of all, if you have a family member who is struggling with any addiction, that you not bring it up while they're currently working in their addiction, meaning like drinking. If someone is drinking or has been drinking, that is not the time to talk to them at all. So please table that, even if you're annoyed, definitely not the time. You need to make sure you're only talking to them if you're at that stage, when they are completely sober and at a place that they could accept it. If you have a family member who is already in sobriety and who is trying or who is struggling, and I totally agree with what Charlie said. Do not make some big announcement and try to embarrass them, even though you think you're doing right. No, please, no, not a great idea. If you do have like a dry Thanksgiving or a dry Christmas, or you decide to do that, that is nice. But don't make it be like, well, because Selah's here, we're not going to have alcohol, because then Selah feels like crap. Okay. Because I'm taking that away from everybody. But if you are going to have alcohol, try not to have it out and like, here's a big old alcohol table with every flavor you could possibly imagine. That is so triggering for an alcoholic. I'll be honest, early in my sobriety, I would count drinks of family members or people that I was with, because I wanted it. I'm being honest. I wanted it so bad that I'd be like, oh, she has three. Oh, three would be like again, and it was really, really difficult. So if you're going to do that, please don't put it in the person's face. Please try to have it hidden away a little bit. Also, having a fun mocktail is so thoughtful and considerate. I have gone to an event and someone was like, oh, I thought of this mocktail that has this and that and cotton candy on top. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And just the thought that they thought to do something and did it for me, that meant so much more to me than making a public announcement that Selah's not drinking, so we're not gonna have, just consider that person. Also, having a good friend, a spouse, whoever, a sister, say, hey, I know you're trying not to drink. I'm not going to drink on this holiday with you. I'm going to sit this one out with you. We're going to hang out together, or I'm going to bring mocktails for us. That makes someone feel like I have a partner in this. Russell has been that for me, and I appreciated him so much. Another good thing when you do get that partner, or if you want to be that partner for somebody and your family, be proactive and maybe ahead of time say, hey, I'm not going to drink at Thanksgiving or Christmas this year. I want to be there for you. But also, in case it gets too much for you, let's come up with a code word so that if you need to break, you need to walk around the block, or you really just need to go, let's have a word that nobody else needs to know about. And then you and I got to run. You and I got to go to 7-Eleven and get something, candy. Because let me tell you, when you're trying not to drink, candy is the jam. So, just to have somebody, Russell was that for me many times. And I'd say our code word and it was no questions. Come on, girls, it's time to go. And he would be the leader in making us go. So it wasn't me. And then people didn't make me feel, oh, you're leaving because you're uncomfortable. So having somebody is really, really helpful. So consider that if you have a family member trying to get sober.
And so I want to say too, like, that's part of being present, being able to be there and with the people you're with, watching and seeing how can I show love and care? Man, that's probably a bigger gift than anybody could have ever bought you or anything like that, to say, I see you.
Yep.
I see you and I hear you and I understand that I'm not in that same spot. You're not saying this is my journey, but because I love and care about you, I'm going to be present with you. And, maybe we're going to go get coffee or something, if it gets to be too much. Especially, I honestly, one of the things I struggle with is work parties and things. You have no say. No one really even cares how you feel
Yeah.
when it's a organizational kind of thing. And, maybe things get out of hand a little faster than you would prefer for them to, or what someone else's level of okay and your level of okay is really different. Really having those conversations before you attend those kind of events makes a difference too. But again, what God wants from us is so different in my mind and understanding now as a Jesus follower than it was as a young adult, where I thought, okay, it's this list of things and I have to do A, B, C, D. And if it isn't these five, six things, then I have to hide those things from God. I can have fun, but I can't act like I'm having fun or, any of those kind of things. But now, I think that as I've gotten to know God better and I've gotten to understand how much He loves and cares about us and how He stepped away from all of the glory of heaven, all of the things that He didn't have to, He didn't have blisters. He didn't have to deal with people's, their sarcasm and their frustration and, all this kind of stuff. But He stepped down because He loved me, because He loved Selah, because He loved you. And he said, I want them to know that I'm not the kind of God who just sits back and lets things fall where they may, and I get a good kick out of laughing at you. But I'm the kind of God who wants to be with you. And anything that is keeping you from being able to be present, I want to walk with you through that. If you want to be free from that, I want to help you be free from that. And I want you to know that I love you no matter where you are on this journey. I love you if you've been sober and you're not sober anymore. I love you if you lost all that weight and you found it again.
Been there a few times.
I love you when you know that you have a problem with attaching feelings and stuff to things and you have a really hard time letting things go and you've let go of them before and now you've got new piles of things. I love you if you're that person who falls in love easily but never seems to have someone else love them back. Jesus is not the kind of guy, he's not the kind of person, he's not the God who says, I love you if you've done something recently that I can be proud of. He says, I love you. I made you. I want to be with you, even if nobody else has loved you that way before. And sometimes the holidays are really hard because you see advertised in media, you see what appears on Facebook, like all of these happy families, all these people who are so happy. And it's just you in a room by yourself. And you know what? My life never looks like that. And you are not a failure. You are not alone. And it doesn't matter how much of a mess you feel like you're in. Jesus came to walk in our mess with us. And it started when he came into this world in the most ridiculous mess ever. A stable, no thank you, not that kind of girl. Uh, a stepdad, a census, poor. How many of us can say, yeah, we get that? Yeah, we get that. um, it's I can only imagine being Mary and feeling like none of this is working right. This was not my plan. This was not how this is supposed to be. And so if you find yourself this year and it's just not what you thought it was going to be, if you are turning to any substance to try to make it all work, like you only feel like you can have fun, you only feel like you can be at peace, you only feel like you can be present, if, I would challenge you to say, God, I want to be present with you. And I need you to prove to me that that's different than this, because this is so temporary and I feel so bad afterwards. Look, as somebody who struggles with food and eating their feelings and living in a family that loves food and I love to cook and those kind of things, knowing that you come down and grab something to eat when everybody else is asleep or busy and they're not going to see you eating a second helping, or they're not going to see you grabbing more potato chips or whatever it is, 5 Hershey Kisses, I don't know, whatever your thing is. Um, God's not going, look at you doing that again. He's like, daughter, you wanna talk to me about something? You know? And and honestly, I can say this because Selah has been a longtime friend of mine. Sometimes it's, hey, text your friend. Don't go get that food. Don't take that drink. Don't go take another muscle relaxer. Don't, you know, uh, reach out, you know? And we can be a mess and still be a blessing. Nobody's asking you to get your life all together. One of the things that Selah brings to to my heart and to my mind is a, hey, look, if I can do it, anybody can do it, you know. And if what's the saying that you have, Selah, about working something? If it
It
work,
works if you work it.
right?
I
So
say it all the time. And then I say, work it, you're worth it. Because you are. You're
and
worth
it,
it.
mine doesn't have to look like yours. There's no special formula. Um, So before we leave today, one of the things that I want to leave with you from this Thursday thought is, again, if you are struggling or you know someone who's struggling with an addiction of any kind, but specifically, you know, we're focusing today on sobriety. Selah, where would you give direction for people to reach out to
For me or for help?
for help?
For help. Okay. So if you are struggling, I would recommend you try to find an AA support or a Celebrate Recovery support group. And I got to be honest, for Celebrate Recovery, it is not only for an addiction, and I want people to know that Celebrate Recovery has classes for people that are children of family dysfunction, that have eating disorders, that, you know, alcohol addiction, drugs, all those things. But there's also something for everybody. Everybody has something that they need to overcome, that they need to recover from. And so I would just recommend AA for that. If you have a family member, a loved one, somebody that is struggling with addiction, the most important thing you need to do for yourself is to get into an Al-Anon. Al-Anon is for families of people in addiction. You cannot help your family member until you help yourself, okay? Because alcoholism and all the things that go along with that are a family disease. So the quicker that you realize that this is a family thing that we've got to overcome and get yourself some help, the stronger you're going to be. So those would be. And then if you want to reach out to me, I have a podcast. It is Progress Over Perfection, because that is the mantra that I live my life by. I want progress. I'm not looking for perfection. There's only one person that's perfect, and that is God. And so you can reach me on that or on socials under Selah Fugett. So thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Selah, and I really appreciate you taking the time with us this session. Again, I'll put a link for Progress Over Perfection in the comments, and if you want to reach out to Selah, you can find her on social media and through her podcast. If you have any questions or you need any support, please remember that you can always reach out to the Messy Sisterhood here on Facebook and also at themessysisterhood@gmail.com. Thank you and have a great Thursday.